He's one of my longtime buddies from years and years ago.
I think I remember. Yeah, you've mentioned him before. So
Yeah.
we didn't do a podcast with him though, right?
No, we haven't.
No. So, but I've heard you talk about him before.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Right.
cool. So,
He was.
as you're joining, if you want to know, we are Blondie and the Brit. We talk about writing every Friday on TikTok, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So, if you're a writer or you're interested in being a writer, let us know any questions you might have, and just enjoy the TikTok. So.
Yes, today we are talking about our origins of how we became writers. And so, Suzanne, let's start with you. How did you begin your journey and kind of like throw in some things you learned along the way? What year
Wow.
was it?
Well,
Bring
yeah,
us way back.
I was going to say, I think persistence is the thing I learned along the way. You know, I didn't start out to be a novel writer, which is really interesting. My background is in theatre. So when I was younger, I mean, I started out as a dancer at 18 and went and traveled around the world as a dancer and loved it. And but I always knew that I always had that kind of creative flair. So when I finished that, I kind of went more into theatre and musical theatre and stage and acting and all. I can remember my dad asking me when I was really young, like about 7, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember saying, I want to be an actress. And I remember it being like a really serious question, like somehow I would never be able to back out of that once I'd said that, you know. But it's like at that young age, I knew that I wanted to do something creative, and I didn't know how to articulate that then. And I really shied away from writing because I was dyslexic. And so I think I would have started a lot younger if I knew that being dyslexic didn't mean that you couldn't be a writer. But back then it was harder. I mean, now I have so many tools that help me. But I didn't then. So I didn't think that was an option for me. So like musical theatre, performing, that's where I put all my energy. And so it was in my I was in my 40s. I would think it was maybe early 40s. And I came up with a idea for a stage play. I used to write stage plays from time to time, had a great editor. And I remember saying to a friend of mine, I can't get the stage plays out of my mind. All I can see is it as a movie. I can't see it as a stage play. I keep seeing people on streets and doing things, and I can't figure out how to stage it. And I remember him saying ever so clearly, so why don't you just write it as a movie script? And I was like, I can do that. And I remember, of course I can. You know, I sort of thought movie scripts were people in Hollywood did that. You know, I didn't think you could just write a movie script. So I went to, this is so true, I went to YouTube, and I'll never forget it to this day. I thought, well, it's going to be easy, right? And I went to YouTube, and this guy, a lovely black guy with a whiteboard, explaining like story structure. It was the very first time I ever understood story structure. And you know how a movie was put together, and I literally watched this guy, listen to what he had to say, and just went, and then I studied everything that I could, and I wrote my first screenplay, and that was called Maggie the Brave, and it was a really fun play, and I sent it to all these competitions, not thinking that it would get anywhere, and it started winning competitions, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, you know, the writing's good enough. And it seemed weird to me. This is my very first screenplay. And how could I be winning competitions with my very first screenplay? And so I realized that I had a skill in that area. Like I hadn't even thought about it before. And so it was really fun that I did that for a few years because I really wanted to try and get into into Hollywood, into the filmmaking industry. And I went and pitched. I went to 3 pitch fests. And it was so much fun, and I got to meet a lot of producers. In fact, I'm working with a producer now on a screenplay. I still have that on the back burner. So I made a lot of connections at that time. But it doesn't pay any money, you know, unless you're like, you know, it's only like how many movies are made a year, and there's already so many people. It's such a competitive market that to try and get something through for millions of dollars that someone's going to invest in a brand new screenwriter is challenging. And so I remember I went to the Cannes Film Festival because I was producing a movie, and I was helping produce, and the movie that I was producing had won an award at Cannes, which is incredible. and it was being filmed there. And I thought, gotta go. I mean, who's ever going to get that opportunity again? And I even ended up like walking the red carpet as a producer. It was so stinking fun. And all those steps at Cannes, I can tell you, they're hard and heels. Anyway, so I went to Cannes, and I can remember when I got, right before I went to Cannes, I said to my husband, you know what? I'm not sure I want to be a screenwriter anymore. And he goes, why? I goes, because honey, all this money that we're spending to like go places and do things, I'm not getting any money back. And he goes, but it's what you love. And I go, I know, but I think I need to do something to pay for my screenwriting habit. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'm going to write a book that I can sell on Amazon really fast. And because I thought back then, I'll make a couple of $1,000 a month selling a book, not advertising it, it'll just sell itself.
Things will be good.
And so I that year in NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, I decided to do it that year. And basically I wrote 55,000 words really fast. And I came up with my very first book. And I didn't think it would do any. Well, I started, I put it out there. KJ, you did the cover. All your friends came in to be on the cover.
That's right.
That's right. The day that we did the photo shoot, you had a huge mud storm where you live, and like they were all like driving through the red mud to get to the film. Do you remember that?
It was a dirt storm. We don't get mud here. That requires
a dirt storm. And I remember it was the very first time that you and I worked together, and we'd known each other for a little while on Twitter, and you did this incredible shoot with me. And the funny thing was, I put that book out onto social media, and the book was called The Rejected Writers Book Club. And it was all about people who wanted to be rejected and weren't interested in being published, but really just wanted to send out manuscripts and they collected the rejection letters as like a hobby. So it was kind of a fun concept, and it kind of twisted itself on the head of like people feeling a lot of shame around rejection, because I never wanted people to feel that way. So we actually did that. We did that book, and it went on something. I put it on something called About Me, and it doesn't even exist now. Right. About Me. Do you remember that? It was like a business calling card. But what I loved about it is you could get a double, like the photo was really great. So I had a whole double spread of my book cover. So really, KJ, you are a big part of this because you created that beautiful book cover. And it went out, and I made a connection with a girl who was in this area. Didn't know at the time that she was an editor for Amazon imprint, Lake Union. I didn't know that. She just said she was in publishing. And so we got chatting, like I chat with everybody that's in the industry when I can. And we chatted for a bit, and then that was it. And then 3 months later, or maybe, I think it was 6 months later, it was a while. Didn't think any more of it. You and I were talking. It was a Friday, because you and I were talking. We were doing our podcast. And as we were talking, we'd finished the podcast for the day, and I'd pulled up my computer. I was just checking my emails, and we were chatting, and I go, oh my gosh, KJ, listen to this. And I read you the email, and they basically said, hey, we're an imprint of Amazon, Lake Union. We would love to be able to publish your book. We're thinking of a series. And I'm going like, this is a scam. And I said to you, I'm going, this is a scam. And I totally told you the scam, and we were laughing about it. We were joking about it. And you said to me, Suzanne, you better check that out, because I was just about to delete it. And she said, you better check it out, because this might not be a scam. And I go, no, it's a scam. Who does that? Who messages an author and says, come and, get published? So, but it wasn't a scam. It really was an imprint for Lake Union. And so what I did is I didn't respond to the email, because I didn't want to respond in case it was a scam. But what I did is I messaged an agent that I knew who was a friend of mine, and I said, have you ever heard of this person?
Is it real?
And she literally, I just sent her a really quick email. She was always really slow at getting back to me, because she was an agent. She was a busy girl, And so I literally sent the email. I think she messaged me back like in 10 seconds, and I was like, whoa. What happened there? She goes, call me right away. And she was the one that turned around and said, yes, this is a legitimate publishing house. They're real people. And so this, go ahead. And that was how it started. And so I went with Lake Union for 3 books. We did 3 books together. And then the next book I was doing was a historical fiction. So interested in that because it had a lot of historical fiction at the time. And so I went on and pitched to Bookouture, who are now my publishers. They're a British publisher. And I've now done 8 books with them. I want to say 8 books. It's been so quick. I think it's 8. I think no, can't be 8. It's 6 books. I've done 8 books altogether. It's 6 books, I think. Maybe it's 5. 5 or 6. But that's kind of my story, and that's what I'm doing right now. So
yeah, it's very exciting, and I love the fact, like, Suzanne and I kind of found each other on Twitter. We like, you know, we both got on there about the same time. This was 2015, and we were busy like just trying to grow our audience, and we, you know, Twitter was a little bit new, especially to us back then. Before I go too far, Lauralee Wrights says hello, Lauralee.
Hi, Lauralee Wrights.
Glad you're here. And Ron says work early. Is there anyone on your end that we need to like comments? And
I know there's a lot of people joining though. Hi everybody, thank you for joining. Yeah. Tell us where you're from, or if you're a writer, ask us any questions. We're just here to help in any way that we can, be part of this writing community. Yeah. So let us know if there's anything you want to hear about. Thank you for the likes, whoever is sending likes. Love that. Helps bring people in, so thank you.
Feel free to tag people to come and watch live while we're here. And you know,
we do this every Friday. If ever you're interested in coming, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we just talk about writing. So you can come any week and just chat to us. So you were saying, Katie, I'm sorry, you were saying about, so we're talking about so that was my writer's journey. We were just talking about, if you just joined, I just told you my writer's journey and how I got to being published. I never actually sent out a rejection letter, which was hysterical because I wrote a book about rejection letters, never ever received one because I never ever pitched anyone, which is really interesting, and that I know is really unusual. My whole story is pretty unusual, but I never actually wanted to be traditionally published. I was happy to be indie all the way, and it kind of came to me. So anyway, carry on, Katie. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, you're 2 for 2, so two we didn't really even pitch. You just got picked up by 2 different publishers. So bravo. And I do remember my early writing journey. Here's how I started. I moved to Florida, and 3 days later, Hurricane Charlie hit. And that summer, there were 4 major hurricanes within weeks. And the next year, we were driving from Maine to Florida. And I was like,
and were you in those hurricanes?
Oh, yeah. We moved, and
oh my gosh,
they crisscrossed the state right over our house. So, I mean, it was
my gosh,
weird situation. And so, you know, we were fine, but it was scary and it was pretty dramatic. And I thought, that's got to be good for something. And I'd been toying with the idea of writing a book for quite a while. I had been working, I was the director of marketing and communications for a healthcare company. And then when I had my second child, I decided to quit. And then the next year we moved down to Florida. So I was used to having a very high power job, lots of traveling. And I decided that after finger painting and changing diapers and, you know, all the things, I needed something for me, for my brain. And so I was like, I could write a book. And I was reading Diana Gabaldon's Outlandish Companion. She's the
Did you ever read all the series, her whole series?
Diana I have read most of her books. When I started writing more heavily, I didn't finish reading them all, but I'm pretty heavy.
Hi, everyone, if you're just joining. Oh, somebody said hi. Hey, hi, thank you, Suze. Nice to see you.
Lori Lee.
We're talking about the writer's journey, and KJ is telling us her story about how she became an author. So carry on, girl. Sorry.
Yes.
I just want to say hi if people came in.
And the Outlandish Companion, and Diana Gabaldon does the Outlander series. You may have seen it on Stars. It's also book, obviously, was book first. But anyway, in her book, she talks about how she wrote scenes that just like a scene, and then she would connect them later. And I thought, oh, that's so unorganized. I could totally do that. So I thought,
that appeals to me. It's unorganized.
I could be unorganized and write something. I always thought you had to be like super structured, and that is just not me. So she kind of inspired me to be like, well, I could try. I mean, if I suck, so what? I'll suck. Didn't lose anything. So in 2005, we were driving up from Florida to Maine on vacation, and that's a lot of hours. If you're keeping track, it's probably, I don't know, 24-hour drive. Anyway, I had plenty of
Wow.
time. And so I started plotting out Stealing Time series, and it ended up being 4 books. I thought it was 1 book, but anyway, that's where I started, and it was really cool. Um, Lori Lee says she never knew that. That is interesting. That's I don't know which part you're talking about, but thank you for commenting. Yeah, so about that same time, around 2015, I had enough of a book to start figuring out what did I want to do. And I met with a guy in publishing who was here locally. And he told me the uphill battle. He's like, it'll take you 2 years. You'll send your paper, your manuscript in. You maybe won't hear anything for 2 years, and then you'll start over with someone else. And I was like, and they don't like you sending it to multiple people at the same time. And I thought,
No, they don't like that.
hideous. I said, that sounds hideous. So about that time, self-publishing became a lot more known. And so I met a guy named Kirkus McGowan he was just on Twitter, and
what a great name. He needs to be a protagonist in a book, doesn't he? Kirkus McGowan.
But he was just starting off in the self-publishing and gave me tons of great advice. And so I met this whole writing community. He wasn't the only one. And she says she writes scene by scene as well. That's good.
Oh yeah, what great advice too. Because I actually, even though I plot a lot, I do write a lot of. I throw a lot of scenes up that I don't know how they're going to connect when I'm in the writing process. That's my first draft process. That's like almost pre-first draft. I know scenes, but I don't know how they're going to connect or where they're even going to come in the story. I just have a scene in my head,
right?
Because it's easy to write a scene, right? If I was to say to any writer, don't write a book, but go write a scene, then I think that just feels doable.
Yeah, it's a lot more doable. And that was Ron who said he write scene by scene. It does make it a lot. It's like you have this burst of imagination, you get it down. Mm-hmm. If you have to wait to get to that plot point to get it all down, you might lose it by then. So yeah, it's kind of, it took the pressure off for me. So anyway, around that time I was on Twitter, and I met Suzanne on Twitter, and for about 3 or 4 months, we just occasionally would be on at the same time, and we'd have these little funny bits. She's like, I used to be a blonde, and anyway, we just hit it off. We really did.
We did.
So then at some point, we decided that, I think I asked her, I said, would you like to do a podcast with me?
And we had no idea what we were setting ourselves up. It sounded like 2 hours of, an hour a week, an hour of, process of, like getting ready. And wow, it was a lot more work, particularly for you. You did all the editing on those and so much work. But we had so much fun though, didn't we?
Great fun. And it was just a good way. It's like part of it, I just wanted to hang out with Suzanne more. I think we did a Facebook party together, and I was like, she's so fun.
We did a few Facebook parties together.
Yeah, and to promote our book. So her first book came out about the same time as my first book. Now she's sped on ahead and done a lot more books than I have, but we've kind of been on this journey together, and it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Lori Lee Wright says, scene by scene is smart. I do that in order. Laugh out loud. I'm going to try that. She does it in order. Yeah, I mean, it can free you up a little bit. You just have to make sure that the connections completely fit. And sometimes that's hard to do. But yeah, at least you get it down. Sometimes if you have a writing day where you're not sure what to write, but you have that one scene, you can throw it in there and get a good chunk of writing done. And then you got to build up to that later. But
yeah, that's where story structure helps. Because if you have a scene, then you can then look at it and go, is this the beginning of the story? Is this the middle of the story? Is this the end of the story? So then you've at least got an idea of where it is in the story, and so that I find that really helps. Yeah. I write a lot of scenes just like that.
Right. And last week we put it up. I put mine up on the KJ Waters YouTube channel. We talked about story structure with the Save the Cat. So if you're wondering about story structure, go back and watch that. Suzanne's got it up on her sites too, I think. But anyway, so Suzanne and I have done a lot of things together. And the podcast, if you're looking for it, it's called Blondie and the Brit. It's on iTunes. We have 93 episodes out there. We interviewed one author a week for an entire year, and maybe more than that. 93.
I think it was like 2 years. Yeah. It was a while, KJ.
Yeah, because there's 52 weeks in a year. I don't think we doubled up, but it was a lot. But now we shifted where we don't have to edit. We can just plop it out there and live and then put it up on YouTube. But it's still the same concept. We're trying to help authors We're really, out here. Like I don't know, but like I know Suzanne, but we spent a lot of time getting advice from other people and kind of having our hands held to try these various things. And then Suzanne and I together, we meet once a week for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, where we talk, share marketing ideas, help each other promote stuff, learn new softwares to help us with either like Recur Post we use to schedule our social media, or MailerLite to do our newsletters. And so it's been great to have like a writing buddy. And I
It
feel like
has.
we've grown up together. We've held hands skipping down the lane and are published.
Skipping down the lane. We're off to see the wizard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun. And so my first book published in 2015 was Suzanne's. She went a little different route by getting picked up. And I've stayed.
Well, I was going to say, I think I must have been about this. I think we published like within months of each other.
Yeah.
So my first indie, when I went indie with my first book, that must have been around the same time, right?
Yeah, we were with them too. So we were, trying to figure out all the, how do you promote it? How do you get it out there? What are you doing? What worked? What didn't work?
And that still changes all the time. So it's like, we're still going, how do you get it out there? How do you promote?
How do you promote it? What am I supposed to do with this stupid thing? Yeah, exactly. There's so much. And then there's some new thing that comes along. And it's just, for me, I highly recommend that you all get a writing buddy or a marketing buddy or somebody. Because, I mean, a lot of times it just feels so lonely out there. You're writing in your, I write in my basement. It's a very lonely job. So either getting help with the writing element of it, where you can just bounce ideas off of someone. I'm also part of a writing group here locally. And so, look around, see if you've got that, where you've got those people. I was thinking of doing like a walking Wednesday where writers just come. It's very unstructured, but you get some exercise, but you can like pitch your story ideas and get advice from people and just kind of connect.
That's a great idea.
So
I actually do a lot of my processing from any of my books walking. I have my little roots at my house because I have quite a big property. I'm always telling the tree stories.
The trees.
I'm having dialogue, I'm telling them I love them. I'm figuring out dialogue. I'm thinking of a story. I often just talking to myself because that's how I figure out story stuff.
Yeah. I'm an extrovert.
Something about walking just activates that for me. Not right. The same as when I'm sitting.
Now, Laura Lee says, I have a writing friend. Yes. What's the difference between an indie writer and self-publishing? Suzanne, you want to tackle that?
It's the same thing. Self-publishing, indie is independent. That's short for independent. So saying that, you can actually go small press, which is also it's kind of in between. So it still is, I think it's still classed as traditionally published, would you say? Small press, or is that in the indie still?
Sometimes a lot of the smaller presses, some of them are called vanity presses because you pay them money to publish. And I don't recommend that because a lot of times
recommend that. Because you shouldn't have to pay to do that, to have your work published. Because you can publish it for free on Amazon. Everything, and then you don't have to, and then you get all your royalties, and then you're not paying for anything. Yes, there's things you have to do. You have to get a cover, you have to have a blurb, you have to have it edited well, you have to have it formatted, and that sounds like a big mountain to climb, but it actually, I would highly recommend you can get someone to do all that for you. KJ does this. She works with clients all the time, does this all the time for people. You can get somebody to do that for you, and that. If you are thinking of going indie, I would totally recommend it. I call myself hybrid because I wouldn't think twice about publishing indie again, independently self-published. It wouldn't even faze me. In fact, I'm thinking of doing it with a book I have that I know my publisher doesn't want. So, why not? Why not get it all out there?
Yeah, exactly. And, so, I mean, our writing journeys have kind of started along the same path and then they've diverged and, I think we'll come back. I'm also looking to go with a traditional publisher. So, I think as an indie author and as a published author, I know a lot of authors that have crossed that path. They're doing both. They maybe have a series independent and a series with a publisher.
And they also write under different names. You don't know that it's, a famous writer because they're writing under a different name, but they are writing YA under a completely different name, while their historical fiction is under, the name that is established. That happens a lot more than you think.
Right. And what I think is really cool about your journey, Suzanne, is that you have you started off independent and got picked up, and now you're with two different publishers. And so I feel like you have a really good perspective on, they were such different types of, one is real Amazon heavy and the other one is much more Facebook and other marketing. And it's just kind of interesting. There's so many different paths that you can take. Do you want to talk a second? Well, first of all, I want to tell you what Lori Lee says. She said she did self-publish, and being seen is a huge mountain to climb. Right, getting your work out there and having people see it. And do you want to address that issue real quick, Suzanne? What have you done to get noticed in the, just in the book world? How do you get people to buy your book and find it?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that I think one of the best things you can do, first of all, you have to think about building an audience. You know, even if you are going self-published, even with a traditionally published, you need to think audience and you need to think marathon. Like, you know, it's no good going onto Facebook the week before you have a book come out and try and get people to rally. You know, you really need to think long term. And one of the best ways that we have both found is a newsletter. And it helps once you've actually, even if you're in the process of still writing, building a group of people that will support you. And the email, I know that feels like it would be strange, but like what I love about email lists, we both have newsletters, is that when you build that, it's yours. You know, you don't lose that group. You know, Amazon has people follow me, you know, BookBub has people follow me, and all these other social media platforms, but any of those could change overnight and I would lose all those followers. So that's a little bit further down the road. The steps to get in let me ask you a question, Laura Lee. Have you written something and you're trying to figure out what to do with it? Tell us where you are in your writing process if you're thinking of doing that.
Yeah, she just wrote, I tapped out my audience in the first month. I do not have a newsletter. Yeah, so if you're on Facebook shows people that are, you know, connected to you, and if you pay money to boost it, maybe they'll all get to see it. But once you've reached the end of that audience, you really need to find people who are readers that are elsewhere. I mean, it's a good thing to have, but you really do need to broaden. The advantage of the newsletter is, like Suzanne said, I have a friend who had a Facebook account. He had about 3,000 people following, and his account got hacked. They took his money and drained part of his bank account, and then he had to close the account and start a new one. So he lost those people that were following him, the 3,000 people. He's trying to find them, but that's really hard to do. So if you have a newsletter, you can encourage people from Facebook to follow your newsletter, and Twitter and all your other places, so that you have them. Ooh, my light just went up. That you have, it's dark in here, guys. But that you have a consistent audience that you can't lose just because you happen to find, you know, your audience gets lost or something. Sorry, Mike.
One thing I would say, because you're already on TikTok, is TikTok so far for me, I am seeing, I mean, I'm pretty new to it, honestly, but I would say that on the whole, I'm seeing very positive, you know, connections here with Book Talk, with Author Talk. Are you using that hashtag, Laura Lee, when you're talking about your book? Are you using the Book Talker hashtags? Because I've seen quite a lot of people. You know, they've even got like Book Talk in Barnes and Noble and that now. You know, Book Talk, it's doing well. So, are you using Book Talk as well? If you haven't run a newsletter, because that takes some time.
Yeah, Book Talk. I'm assuming you're doing well on TikTok. I mean, I see you here. I have to go look at your account. But there's, Suzanne, why don't you tell them some of the things that you've learned about how to get the logarithm of TikTok to see your posts and to bring people to your page. Done some research.
Why not talking about my book?
Well, that's not the advice you want to share. But
no, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because when I started TikTok, I really just wanted to play. It was like, I'll promote my book when it comes out. But actually, you know, was saying that, okay. So if you go to my posts, most of mine are about my journaling. I love doing journaling. But the posts that are my book, like every 4 or 5 posts, I will do something, you know, a page flip, or I will actually do a day in the life of an author or whatever. They're all on my book. And they have definitely gone up. I had somebody say on one of those, I'm going to go buy your book. And I thought, so you never know. Yeah. Even when you are very vaguely out there promoting, I know that there are certain things that are working that I'm hearing from other authors. That the page flip is when you kind of flip the pages, and then you put a synopsis over the top of the pages of the book, and then end up with a cover. Here's some of the things I know that you have to do, that you should do. Make sure they see your cover, and if you can put a link somewhere, it makes a difference. I know it's not always easy to do that if you don't have 1,000 followers. They don't give you a connection yet, but if you have got 1,000 followers, you can put a link right there in your bio, and it really helps people. People don't want to have to try and remember it and go back and then what is it, and so they can just go straight to your bio. I've bought things from TikTok all the time just by going, oh, I want one of those, going to the bio, going to the link and going straight to the shop and buying it. So definitely have that going. I saw something that I'm really liking that I'm going to try, and it's somebody, she did like a beautiful beach scene, and so it was really relaxing with her book on it, like a whole, like quite a long quote, but because it was such a beautiful scene, I wanted to kind of stay on the page. So I thought that was pretty smart. I'm going to try that one of these days. So what about you, KJ? What's been working for you?
Well, I listened to a video, and I can't remember her name, but I sent her to you, and I can share it on my page. There's a woman that was talking about what she's researched the logarithm on TikTok. First of all, what you want to do is clean your account. And so that sounds weird, but get out your desk broom. Unlike all the posts that aren't connected to books. I know we all like those fun cat videos and the guy dancing, all that stuff. But if you want to focus your account so that TikTok knows who to send to your page, like only book talkers, like only things that are talking about books. It doesn't mean that all the content they have is about books, but it's in that genre so that they know that's what they need to send to you and send people to you. So that's the first one. The other one was that she had some ideas. There's like 3 TikTok types that are very popular and do really well. And she actually broke it down into how many seconds you do for each piece. And I'll have to share it on my page because I don't remember all of that. Oh, Laura Lee's taking notes. So one of them is the page flip that Suzanne showed. So you show like flipping through your book, and then you show the cover. And it's, if you want to save the sounds, I have one on my page that I did recently. Suzanne's got some. You can save that sound and just kind of have that playing behind so that you can follow kind of what's been popular. Another one is where you show your face and you don't really say anything, but you have like words that you put up. TikTok allows you to add all that stuff and stickers and stuff. And so maybe you're saying, my genre, here's how old I am, here's where I live. You've seen people doing that. That's my version.
Please send and rob my house.
Yeah, please. Here's my bank account. Here's my social. No,
yeah, be careful what you put out there. That one, the one you were talking about is totally fine. But some of them are like my shoe size. I'm like,
yeah, you don't want to give.
Don't tell me too much stuff about you.
Right. And then, so we're talking about the links. You can always put a link in your bio. So right now I have, KJ Waters, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I am. And then I have a link to my latest book on Amazon. It's a direct link to Amazon. So you can always put on your post, link in bio. At least they have somewhere to find your books. If they can find one of them, then they can go to your Author Central page and find the rest of your books. So even if you can't put it in your post, you do have that option. Or, you've got your website on there too. People can go there. What was the third type of book of the talk? The
English. I need English.
You need that talk. Now there was 3 different formats, and what she recommended you do.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the lady that you sent me the post. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. But
what she recommended you do is that you do a couple different of the variations, and what she wants you to do too is you come up with 3 kind of lines that you put above, and it will be it. Here's the structure is that you have
I know what she did. She talked about and she actually breaks it down into times. Like you have 3 videos, and each video had a line of the dialogue, and then the next line with a line of the dialogue, and it was basically a hook rather than so the hook, and the last video was shorter, and it was just 3 photos that she put together.
Photos, right?
Yeah, and I thought that was really interesting. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, the first photo is just something that has the feeling of the book, and you introduce like a scene. The example she had was that there was I came home and my boyfriend had his best friend there, and he was holding up a whip and said, or a can of whipped cream and said, "Get your ass on the table," or something like that. And it's just like, obviously, what kind of book that was, but that was her example. And so it was like three of dialogue, and the last line was the hook, but you make that piece the shortest number of seconds so that they have to watch the video again, and they're able to.
Oh, that was right. Yes, they have to watch it again.
So you get more views from one person, and that brings more people to come see it because people are looking at it. So I'll try to share that. She did a much better job of explaining it, and it was very structured, and I actually went through it like 18 times. My family was like, "Would you stop
See,
listening?"
look, she made you go through 18 times. She was smart.
She did, and I took notes, and so I have those notes. So maybe I can share them on here if I can figure out how to do that, or just share her video because she really was super helpful. And she studied the logarithm. There's a certain time period that you schedule each. You have the image up for one. I think if it's a 30-second one, you do. I don't know.
You should share it. So as you're talking about it, I think you can share it onto your own page, right? And then people can see it on there. So
Yeah.
KJ will share that so that you can read it, Laura Lee, if that helps.
Yeah, she was super interesting. And just to know how TikTok works, if someone's paying attention. Oh, and then what she recommended you do is there's each of the types of, we talked about the page flip, we talked about the author face with things going on, and you can use, to come up with 3 different quotes, 3 completely different scenarios, and then you make all these ones and see which ones get the most traction. So
that was right. Yes, you talked about that. See which one, got the most likes.
Yeah, a little market research. So you have a page flip one with the set of dialogue. You can use that same set of dialogue with the author face one, and then the other 2, and then to kind of mix it up so that you're trying a bunch of things. See which hooks work the best. See which formats work the best. And then in the meantime, you have a bunch of videos that go up that you at least have content. And that's the thing, is they're saying to post a couple times a day. I haven't quite gotten up to there yet because that's a lot of work. But Suzanne, you're doing better about posting more frequently.
I'm posting every day, but what I'm doing is I'm blocking at the weekend. So I spend some time at the weekend. I have longer, shorter videos. What I've decided with mine, I'm not doing a lot of book videos because the people that tend to be attracted to what I'm doing tend to be my age range, my perfect reader anyway, because my readers, because it's historical fiction, this is the information I get back from my publishers, are 35 and above. And it tends to be a lot of women that are that age, and I'm not saying that they're all that age, but they're doing the craft videos. Yeah. And so they're all my market. So the way I look at this is I'm building relationship right now, but with not to try and trick them into buying a book, but to build relationship. And then when books come out, if they're interested, they're available, rather than, so I'm doing it a little bit differently, rather than I have a big marketing plan for my book and TikTok is it. So I don't know if it's going to work or not. I mean, right now I'm getting a lot of page views and I'm getting a lot of follows. So, we'll see where that goes. I kind of did the same thing with Twitter when I built my Twitter account. I didn't do a lot of book stuff to start with, and we'll just see. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm loving the interaction. That's what I love about TikTok, the instant interaction. It felt like Twitter was too fast. Facebook, I heard somebody write the other day, I can't believe that, on Facebook, there's people I've known all my life that I can't stand now. And on TikTok, there's people I've never met in my life who I absolutely love. And it kind of is true a little bit, it really is. I love the interaction I have. I mean, you obviously you always get crazy people wherever you are in the world, but the majority are very positive. I get a lot of very positive connections, and that makes me happy. I just keep hoping that I'll build more and more relationship, because you don't buy, this is what I think you always have to remember, people don't buy books because you sell the book. They buy it because they connect with you. Always. Yeah. It's always about connection. So, when that woman said, the other day, like, I'm going to go buy your book now. I mean, it wasn't a book video, but because she saw that I was an author, she went and watched one of my author about my book. Then she went up, which was really sweet. But, that was, so I think it's really important to always remember that in any marketing, You're trying to connect with people. You've always been really good at this, KJ. You connect with people, not with like, you're not trying to get one sale. You're trying to make a relationship for life so you can sell to this person over and over again without any high pressure.
Right. And that's actually called relationship marketing.
Wow. See, look, and I never even got my business degree like you.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a whole theory that, your website and your other posts that you do on social media is to draw people in that are interested in your same thing. So, your relationship is commenting on their stuff, answering their, when they comment on yours, and it's creating relationships with people who might be your readers. So sharing content, like in my books, I have the Fire of London. So sharing articles about the Fire of London, and then like, oh, and here's how I use it in my book. And then there's, just the little historical kernels that are in my book. You're sharing content information about that, not just here's a link to my book. I have some people that
Right, yeah, because
direct
that's not
message
fun.
it and they share it. That's all. You look at their page if you're going to decide to follow them. At every single post, buy my book, and it's
Yeah,
there's no
no fun.
you're supposed to be a buyer. And so the other thing in marketing that you learn pretty early on is that it takes 7 exposures to somebody, and I don't mean it like that. I just mean dealing with a person, seeing their post, seeing their book cover, 7 exposures for them to decide that they should then go look at your book and maybe buy it. So that's why the repeating stuff, it seems like, oh, I'm just putting the same couple things out there. Well, I mean, it might take them long enough. They might, like, I don't know who that is, and they keep going. But the second time they see your book cover, you're like, wait, I remember that. The third time they might actually look at your profile and be like, okay, I get it. Third time they might actually go to Amazon and be like, I got to get this book. I keep seeing it everywhere. And so, that's how you build the marketing
Well, I
buzz
must
around.
be honest, that's how I end up getting all my recommendations. I go through Book Talk and I see the same book over and over again. Like, I just read one which was great. It was YA. I don't read a lot of YA, but there's a lot of YA on Book Talk. So I've been reading a lot of YA just because that's a lot of recommendation. And there was one called Love Hypothesis. And I would see it and I think it looked like a graphic novel. And I was like, I don't want to read a graphic novel. But I kept moving and moving. And it just kept coming up and coming up. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go check this out because it's on like on everybody's page. Read the book, loved the book. It wasn't a graphic novel. It was a novel, regular novel. And so it just shows that is not a book I would ever have picked up in Barnes & Noble. It's not a book I would ever have picked up on Amazon. But I was worn down by Book Talk.
Yes, your exposure 15, you're like, okay, fine. And you're right. I went into Barnes Noble the other day and I took a picture. They have a table upstairs that says Book Talk. And I was like, they're probably wrong. Every book I've seen that day on Book Talk. So, I mean,
Wow.
they've got a person who's looking into that, and it's the same books. A lot of Colleen Hoover.
I just read a Colleen Hoover because of Book Talk, and it was great. I just read another Colleen Hoover, and that was the last book I read, and I was like, isn't that funny? I don't normally read her. So I think this is the good thing. And I actually think that Book Talk on the whole is at the beginning. Like, if you are just starting out, I think it's a really good time on this social media, because everyone I'm seeing has said, oh, I've only been on for 3 months, I've only been on for 4. Like, no one, hardly anybody that's on here is saying, oh yeah, I've been here for 5 years or whatever. They haven't. Everyone is pretty new, which means we're growing this community together, which is great,
It previously was just a bunch of teenagers dancing and showing off their
lip syncing
filters, crap, But now with Book Talk forming, and there's actually the other piece of advice that, and Laura Lee says, that's great advice. Exposure, yeah. What I've done is, so I've spent time making the TikTok videos, and I'm like, like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. But then I share it. There's a way that once it's published, you can share it onto Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. So I would say once you've made your videos, spread them around, because then more people are showing up as views on that TikTok. And then they find you in TikTok, and then they're like, oh my God, this person, blah, 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 whatever.
The only thing I've heard, KJ, I don't know if you've heard this, if it has the TikTok, there's a way to pull that TikTok promotional watermark out, because I know that. So what I tend to do now is I do that, but I do it through I actually go edit it in ProCut or something, CapCut, because then it doesn't have the watermark on it, and I still can go out to all those social media places because I want to do that exactly, bring everybody back to that. But I tend to not that, but it's like that was my only concern, was you have to be careful with the watermark, because I know Instagram doesn't like it very much.
Instagram doesn't like the TikTok watermark. But you have to decide what you're doing with that post. Are you trying to grow your TikTok following, that if they see it on TikTok,
there you go,
or are you trying to sell the book? And that's a different thing. Do you want a big exposure on Instagram? Then you don't want the TikTok watermark. But if you want people to find you over on TikTok, Instagram specifically, they have recently put a policy up that if it has the TikTok watermark, they're not pushing it. It might reach your organic audience, but they're not going to help you get it past that, because they don't want to promote TikTok. That's their biggest competition. So for that one, so what I've been doing, like with these posts, I take this post, I put it up. I have something I'm already paying for called Screencastify. It's a Google app. I pay per year to have some of the extra features, but it's an editing software. And I do the full hour, and then I put that on YouTube from there. Then I do a 10-minute segment, and I put our logo on it, and that's what I've been posting here on TikTok. Those don't have the TikTok logo on it. So once I make that, actually,
we can share it everywhere.
I take the 10-minute over to Canva, put the Blondie and the Brit banner at the top. You'll see it up here if you're looking at TikTok and not the live version. And that video that I made in Canva is not been published to TikTok yet. I can share it that way to Reels and other places. And then I post it on TikTok, and where it will have the brand information. So I'll have 3 versions. I know that sounds like a pain in the butt, but we're doing an hour live thing, and it isn't the same as just the 10-second things you're putting up on TikTok. So, I mean, to get it up on YouTube and the other places, if you do a live TikTok, afterwards you can go to the Live Center and you can download it. It comes as an MP4, and then you could do the editing like we're saying, or you can share it onto your TikTok or other places. So
one thing I've actually heard is, and it's the same for me, I don't think it's not like Twitter where everything goes really fast, or it's not like Facebook where people stop following you. There is very, this is what I've heard from other authors on Book Talk, is there's very little fallout follow, like because you can skim through so fast. People, if they've already seen you, but they keep moving, so you don't lose as many followers as you do in these other social media. So you can post as much or as little as you want and not piss anybody off. That is kind of a cool thing to remember. And also, I've also don't ever get rid of a video. That's what I've heard as well, because it can suddenly go viral. So, and apparently that sends something to the algorithm as well. So make sure you keep all the videos on there, and so they can go viral. Those 2 things I think is important to remember. Make 10 videos, different times, different amounts of different. Maybe make 3 page flip videos with 3 different quotes, and just see how they do. Like I just did over this last week, I did a page flip for one of my journals. It was actually a 7 different signatures of my journal, but every single page got over 500 to 600 views, and it wasn't the same thing, but it basically was the same thing. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, it just shows you that it doesn't matter. People like it. They like seeing different done a different way,
might be different people too. Now tell us, you had a couple go like super viral. What is the most likes you had? Tell us about them.
I think 19,000 on one of my posts. I think it's nearly 20,000 now. Isn't that crazy? It wasn't a book post.
It was your journal.
But you know what? Right next to it is my day in the life of an author. So that's Noelle is in. Hi, hi Noelle.
Hello.
Yay! We were wondering if you were going to pop in and say hi. Stalking? No, you're not stalking. We love having you in. We've been talking about ways that you can promote on TikTok. I don't know if you've been listening to us, but we've been talking. And she's putting all the likes in. She's so sweet. Yeah, we've been talking about different ways, different things that we've heard that are working on TikTok. We're just talking about how you can take the same video and add different quotes to that, and just see how each one does. See what's really working. So that was one of the things that this woman who kind of worked out the algorithm had figured out. So yeah, that was kind of cool. So anything else you've heard, KJ?
There's
Or
something
you, Noelle,
I wanted to
chip in,
add.
Noelle, if you know anything that you've been.
Oh, yeah.
Noelle's been doing really well, and you do very short videos on the whole. I've noticed she does those. You do a lot of lip syncing videos that I remember. I haven't had many past me lately. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I remember you did quite a lot of lip syncing, and I know you seem to have a lot of likes. We were just talking about posts that went viral. I had one go to 19,000 likes, and you know what was interesting? It was about it was about how to store things. Like I take a book and I fold my book pages over and I make like a folder for it. That's how I store all my like postcards and different things. And I think because it was easy to do, like it didn't cost anybody any money. Everyone's got a book at home. And I think because it wasn't like a particular thing, like anybody could use that, it was a storage thing. That I think that's why it went so viral at nearly 20,000. So that's cool.
And what you do too is very pretty. It's well done. You've got all these colors. And you've got that great English accent. I know that you think.
Yes, that makes all the difference. The great English accent from Birmingham, which is hysterical to me. But carry on.
I don't care what you say. I just want to hear that voice. Oh,
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah. So so what I was saying, Laura Lee, is I definitely do a bunch of posts. Like at the weekend, and try different sizes of videos. That's what I've heard. Like you do like some long, some short, some, and TikTok likes that. Apparently they like it when you're doing lots of different sizes of videos. So make sure you vary that. And I'm definitely going to try this beautiful scene, a whole quote of the book. And you should maybe try this too, Noelle. We were just talking about this earlier. You take a chunk of a quote and have a really pretty scene, all for you because you do thrillers, something kind of thrilling behind it. Then I think that just to see how that works, I definitely watched that over and over again because I wanted to read the whole quote. It was a beautiful quote, but I also loved the fact that I was looking at the beach. So I think she kind of, for me, that really worked,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Give us Noelle's handle so people can follow her.
Oh, yeah. Please follow Noelle. She is author at Noelle, NOELLEHOLTEN. She is an incredible thriller writer. And if you haven't read her books, go get them because she will have you. I can't read them because it frightens me too much. But for what I have read and her like the reviews that she's got, I know I read some of it and that was enough. I was like, I can't do this. But like, she's an incredible author and an incredible writer. Please go read her books. Oh, you're welcome. We love to promote authors while we're on here. That's the whole point of us doing this. So yeah. So yeah, thriller. Actually, let's brainstorm that a bit, KJ. If you're writing thriller, which is you do too, what sort of things could you do to draw your audience in? What kind of graphics? What kind of, maybe do what we were talking about, that 3 section we were talking about, Noelle. A girl was telling us that if you take 3 slides, like photos, not a video, but 3 photos with a very short quote, with a really good hook on the first one, and then like at the meat of it, like on the second one, and then a very short quote. The last video was the shortest, so people have to rewatch it a couple of times to get the end of the hook. That had been very successful to her, so we're both gonna try that one. So I'm sorry, KJ, we were talking about thrilling graphics and things.
Yeah. I mean, my books are about hurricanes, so obviously the storm scenes, the lightning strikes.
I meant to say, you need to put more sound on yours. You put I loved yours. I was like, I need hurricane sounds behind it. I don't know how you would get those, but I need to hear the lightning behind them,
That's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, some of them have just been like catchy tunes that I've saved. I'm saving a lot of, like Suzanne told me right off that one of the things you do is you save sounds so that you can follow that. And then use that sound on your next one. And so I saved a bunch of stuff, but no one's putting out lightning sounds, thunder sounds, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I bet if you typed in lightning, like in the search bar, something would come up. Lightning sound. When you're when you look for the sound, I bet if you put that in, it would come up.
Lightning doesn't make sound, but thunder, yes.
I meant thunder. You know what I meant.
Let me teach you about the weather, Suzanne. I know a lot. Yeah. So Laura Lee says she lives in Florida. Tell me where in Florida you live, and were you there during that 2004 summer of horrible hurricanes? Sounds like you said you remembered Charlie, first one, Hurricane Charlie, Francis, Jean. But yeah, for my books, then I would do that. But like if Noelle is writing horror or like thrillers, always the dark backgrounds. A lot of people I've seen have like the silhouette of somebody walking, and maybe a woman. It depends on what your topics are, but something that gives you the mood of like
yeah. And one of the things she said was not to put your book cover on, right? She said don't do that.
She said, "Don't."
That tip. Do the like a little story, like a miniature, like almost an advert with 3 different slides. Sorry, I'm carry on. I just remembered that. So
she said, "Do not put the name of your book or your name or whatever, because you want them to go to your page and look at your other stuff. You've got it elsewhere." But people get bored with that. Then it feels like an ad, as opposed to like, here's the hook to my book. I'm telling you a little story, which is interesting to people. They want to know what the book's about, and then to have the advert throw up where you got your book cover and buy now. You get that elsewhere. You want to just get them involved in the story. Little snippet of entertainment, and it's not a long video. It's, what is it, like 20 or 30 seconds?
Yeah, it's short.
And so you get like, people want a quick stuff. They want to know right away what you're doing. So she lives in Titusville, and she was there, so exactly about all these hurricanes. It was a very destructive summer.
If you're just joining, KJ and I are Blondie and the Brit. We talk every Friday, 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, just about writing. And KJ is just talking about her book series, the Stealing Time series, which is all about a woman who gets thrown back in time through hurricanes. There's a whole, woohoo! Oh, very good. Very impressive. Right there. Yeah, right there. And so because of this, like, there was all these hurricanes that came really close together. What were the names of them? Say them again, KJ.
Yeah, Hurricane Charlie, Hurricane Francis, Hurricane Jean, and then Ivan was thrown in the middle of those. Yeah.
And so she wrote books around each of those hurricanes. So this girl, it's the same protagonist because it's a series, but she gets thrown back at different times through these. Every time this hurricane hits, I think I'm getting this right, KJ, she gets thrown back in time because there's a connection with the hurricane, and I won't give away all the story, and what's happening to her and somebody who's doing that to her. So that's
right. Her boyfriend is an evil scientist.
Her abusive boyfriend.
Human testing on a new technology, and so there's science in there, so it's science fiction technically, but it's not like aliens.
Fortunately, you have some smart people around you that help you with the science.
Yes, my son is Oh, Laura Lee says she found
brain.
The book. Excellent. Yes, my son is a brain.
And we weren't even saying go buy it. And that's the thing, is you see that's relationship marketing. I mean, we obviously we'd love to sell our books, but that's not why we're here. And because you're not there, you build relationship, and then you're like, oh, I might go check that out. Kind of. I love that. You'll enjoy it. She's a good writer. Yeah.
And I mean,
as long as you like being scared.
From the I can handle a little bit
Siri's talking to me. I'm sorry.
Siri, butt out. No, Suzanne and we started the podcast, and it wasn't like to sell our books. It wasn't about, here's what we write about. It was all about interviewing other authors, inspiring authors to keep writing, to get them, some tools and information in a fun and entertaining way. And that's what we're doing here too. We want to help get the name out about your books. We want to give you some advice on what we've learned. We obviously don't know everything, and I'm sure Noelle could come on our little podcast live there and tell us a whole bunch of stuff that we had no idea about, which I'd love her to do, about how to market and all that kind of stuff, and writing tips. And so, I mean, that's kind of what we're about, is to kind of pay it forward, I feel like, because I've been given so much.
We're not in competition. None of us are in competition. We're all here to support one another, because nobody could write the book that you write. Even if 20 people wrote the same topic, no one's going to write the book you write. So never feel scared. When I was doing screenwriting, people would never tell you their story. They were scared that you were going to, and you're like, that's silly, Because the reality is there's plenty of market out there. I remember there was movies that came out that were like the exact same story, different people wrote. I was like, it happens all the time, so
Yeah.
don't feel bad. Encourage one another, support one another, promote one another. It all comes back to you get things back.
And the reality is, people don't just read one book and then they're waiting for your next book. It takes us like 6 months, a year to write a book. Something, some people read a new book every week, every day, 2 a month. And so, like, if they liked my book, maybe they would absolutely love yours. Or, at least go check it out. She said she found both of us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And then
I didn't even tell you who I was.
Well, your name is up on my thing. If you want to know.
Okay, yeah.
I'm KJ Waters, and this is Suzanne Kelman. I'm Blondie, and she's the Brit.
Yeah, and thank you. I hope if you do get to buy one, let us know, and let us know if you enjoy it. We hope you do. Thank you so much for supporting us. We appreciate that. That's very kind of you.
And Laura Lee, tell us what your book is, if it's out on
Amazon. Tell us about yours as well.
We would love to put it out there and let people go find it. She says, The Blondie and the Brit. Yep, that's who we are.
That's us.
Yeah.
Tell us, because sometimes we get like 500 or 600 people watch this. So, let us know what you're writing in case they want to go buy it and we want to go buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And is Noelle still on there? Is she sending you a stuff?
Yeah, I think she is. Are you still here, Noelle? Did you want to ask her something?
Well, if she's here. Laura Lee says she writes a fantasy historical romance.
Ooh, that hits all the buttons.
Awaiting Raine. Ooh, I gotta go look that up. I want to see.
Say it out slowly, KJ.
It says Awaiting Rain. Raine is the title. Fantasy historical.
Wow.
And Laura Lee, is that your author name? How can people make sure it's your author? Noelle Holton. She's over on my side now. Hi, Noelle. Laura.
She was at my party. How did she end up at your party?
I stole your party. Thank you, Noelle. It's so great that you're over here. Lori Lee. I've been saying her name wrong. Laurie Leigh, and her book is called Awaiting Rain. Raine. Everyone, go check it out.
Yeah, lovely. And so, is that your first book, Laura Lee? Is it going to be a series? Tell us a little bit about it and a little bit about the story. I know that's a lot to type in, but just give us a little bit of smattering in case people. I know it's definitely piqued. Even the titles piqued my interest. So, and the fact that it's fantasy. I love historical, at any rate, and it's fun to do fantasy. I haven't done much fantasy, so I would be interested to see that.
Noelle is liking the heck out of this. Thank you, Noelle. It's you are the best.
She's our favorite person. She comes and likes the heck out of everything.
We would love to have you on, though. I mean,
I've got 1.4 likes. I bet they're all Noelle.
1.4? How is there a 0.4 like?
No, 1.4. So 1,400 likes. Oh. And I bet they're all Noelle.
Wow.
She's been busy with a finger.
I love it. Now, we would love to have you on, Noelle, and it sounds like you work for TikTok with their marketing and stuff. I'm sure you have a lot of information for our followers.
She works for Bookature, not TikTok.
Bookature. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I'm blonde. Give me.
So Noelle, let us know when you would like to do it, because she already has 1,000 followers. If any of you have 1,000 followers and you are an author, please let us know, because we do love to interview authors. It's our favorite thing to do.
Yes, we would love to do that. I don't know how we all look with 3 of us on the screen, but I'm sure it's doable.
We'll figure it out.
Lori Lee says it's a love triangle, pirates, mermaids, and it's a stand-alone, and will be part of a series. So it's your first book.
I love it. Pirates and mermaids. Who wouldn't want to read that?
Love triangle of pirates and mermaids. Oh, good.
I'm going to go buy it. Right after this, I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to go find you. I'm going to remember the name. I haven't got a pen.
Noelle says she'd love to come on. She'll email Suzanne next week. Perfect. We would love that. I feel like you'd be
we really would.
Give us some good information. learn more about your books and your writing. I absolutely love thrillers. That is my favorite genre to read, although I read a bunch of things. I'm trying to learn several genres, so it'd be great to. Now, the mermaid isn't the main character yet. Ooh, that sounds like a book 2 or 3 thing. Laura Lee. Sorry, I'm mixing up my comments here, but
I was going to say we were talking about writing a series, I think last week. So if you go back to YouTube from last week, we were talking about how to plot a series, because I'm in the midst of plotting a series right now. If you want to know more about that, go look at our YouTube, KJ Waters. I don't think I've put mine up yet, Kate. So go to KJ's right now.
yeah.
She's on YouTube as KJ Waters, and yeah, that might help. Hopefully, we can help. That's our plan.
Yeah, give you some ideas. We were using Save the Cat, and you can Google that and find there's like a PDF that gives you the story structure, I think, if you sign up. But we found it very helpful. In fact, I'm going to go back to my book. I'm in second draft, and I'm going to replot. I started plotting with that, and I just want to go back and make sure, because I'm trying it up. So I might be able to be like, okay, these are the
I do
key
that
15.
too. I pull up the structure again and just check how my structure's doing. Yeah.
If
you know what's interesting is sometimes I don't look at it at all, and when I get back to second draft, I'm like, hey, I was pretty much spot on, because I think once you know the structure, you're kind of like aware of it as you're writing. So
right.
Sometimes I have to move stuff around. In fact, the last edit I just got back from my editor, I know as soon as I sent it out, like I had 3 chapters that were dragging right in the middle, always my case for me, and I knew it, and I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was trying to work out what should I do, and sent it to Isabel, my wonderful editor, and she straight away said, I think this is dragging. I knew she'd see it straight away, and she figured out what to do. So it's like but because you get used to how structure feels. I just listened to a book, and they hit a point. It was a good book. It was a Colin Hoover, and there was a point where I'm like, okay, we need something new. We need that midpoint change. I need a big change here. We're not getting it yet. It feels like it's dragging. And it did. I was like, I hope this is not going to be it for the rest of the book. And then, of course, she did. She pulled that big change in, changed the whole dynamics of the book, and it was very intense book. And so I was like, okay, good, you made it, you figured it out, good. But she was a little bit off the midpoint, and I could sense it. I was like, she's not there. I can tell she's not where she should be right now.
That's good. Why? And you started with the screenwriting, which I do think.
Noelle's back with me now. She's going from one to the other, using her finger to like, and then going back. See, look how sweet she is. This is the people I work with, KJ at Bookature. They're all just wonderful people. I love all you guys. You guys are so nice to us, and I feel very fortunate to know you all. And I'm going to get to meet you like in a week's time, week and a half's time, or a couple of weeks' time, I suppose. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to London.
We're going to TikTok from you in London?
I'm going to TikTok from London. London, baby. Yeah, I'm going to TikTok from London. Oh, you're so sweet. We love you too, she says. That's so sweet. Yeah, no, I'm going to be, the Friday, I'm thinking I'm going to be, if it'll depend really on how I'm doing, like just jet laggy and that. I don't know. But on the Friday, I'm hoping to do some reading. Book Talk asked us the team asked us if we could do like readings of our book in places that we've set them. And I set a book in Churchill's War Rooms, and you can go visit those rooms. I think as long as they don't like arrest me and throw me out, I'm hoping I can stand there and maybe do some reading in the war rooms of the scene where we first walk into the war room with one of those protagonists. She walks in and we walk through it, and I literally did it by going on Google Maps and I never went, and I had to do it by all the research I'd seen in films, and because I know that when they're doing sets, they do try to be really careful about being authentic most of the time. And so I did that, and I did books. So I've never been. So it'll be kind of exciting to try that. I think that'll be kind of fun.
I think you'll get a lot of likes if you go live and get arrested, because that would be kind of fun.
And I'm reading as I'm going, as they're pulling me away.
And then she said, and they're tagging you up.
Some crazy middle-aged woman was sat in Churchill's chair reading. We picked her up and threw her out.
That lady, we told her to stop, and she was live, so she kept going. my God, that's hilarious. Well, we're over by 12
I know
minutes.
we're having so much fun, way too much fun. So we need to. Oh, we're 12 minutes over, and weren't taping this, so I think that's why I wasn't really watching the time as much. But we've had as much fun as we always do. If you have a topic that you would like us to talk about, please message us and let us know. And like Noelle will get you in soon. And any of you guys, if you have over 1,000 followers and you have a book, or you're writing a book, or just we would love to connect with you. So come along and connect, and maybe we can get you on the show if that'll work for us. So that would be fun.
That's great. And Laura Lee says she had so much fun. She's very grateful. Thank you. And thank you for
You
joining.
are welcome. So one more time, let's do. Noelle, would you type in the name of your book? And would you want to, Laura Lee, one more time, just type in the name of your book so we can leave our audience with that, just in case they've only just joined us. These are two of the authors that are on here. We want to make sure that if you haven't checked these authors out and you like thrillers or you like historical fiction fantasy, which is kind of a cool, I love the idea of that. So you want to, did you type it in there, KJ?
Yeah, well, it's Awaiting Rain.
Awaiting Rain, but it's not the R-A-I-N. It's rain as in rain on a throne, right?
R-A-I, and her author name is Lori Lee, Leigh, and she. Noelle is over on my page again. Haha.
She's hysterical.
Her book is called Dead Mercy, and it's her latest one. And then give her the full. Oh, it's Noelle Holton is her author.
Holton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So what was Dead Mercy, and what was the other
Mercy? Noelle Holton, and Awaiting Rain by Lori Lee. And she says
Awaiting Rain.
The character's name is Rain. So there you go. That's good.
I love it. I can't wait to try it. We're going to go buy it right now. Okay, and you too. Oh, wow, this was so much fun. I really had fun today. Did you, KJ? We met so many great people. And thank you for coming and supporting us. And if you want to come on Fridays, we love chatting. We're always trying to think of new topics to talk about. Let us know what you want to talk about, and we will talk about it. If we know, we will help. There's always a different way to do things. We know that. We're all trying to figure this out. So hopefully we'll be back next. Are you available next Friday? You going to be around next Friday, KJ?
I will. And I just want to say too, like, if you are just coming into the slate, I still see people coming in. We'll have this full episode up on YouTube, KJ Waters, and I'll share the first 10 minutes on my TikTok in a couple of days.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have fun. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.